PJ Fleck is interesting at Western Michigan. And some people are saying he may leave to take one of these or take a job
Minnesota
at
just interviewed
Minnesota
with.
or one of those type of clubs. Do you think that's a good move for him, or should he just stay pat and wait for a bigger opportunity? Because it seems like a bigger one will come down the road.
Yeah, I think when I was talking to people a month ago as the coaching carousel was really going strong, I definitely got the sense that Fleck, would not go to Purdue. He would not go to Cincinnati, but that Minnesota was a different story. I do think he might go to Minnesota. It's a place where you can win. I think he's very well connected in the upper Midwest. I think he grew up, 5 hours from there by car. He's comfortable in those surroundings, and I think that kind of program might fit his style. When you say a, quote, bigger program would come along, I mean, maybe and maybe not. The truth of the matter is that the MAC to a major conference is a huge, huge leap.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times we'll see a MAC coach take that sort of intermediary job. Like last year, Matt Campbell at Toledo, who was the hot MAC coach, ended up taking Iowa State, so it wasn't one of the elite jobs. So the other factor is I'm not sure PJ Fleck's act plays everywhere. I think a lot of people look at him and see maybe a little too contrived, a little too, fake with some of the stuff, even though I believe he's, sincere and, the way he is Mr. High Energy all the time. But I don't think that necessarily plays everywhere.
Yep.
I think a lot of people get turned off by it. So I'm not sure he could do a whole lot better than Minnesota.
You know what's interesting, and we're talking some college football here. Dan Wolken, USA Today, covers the game, obviously, college football here on Tiki and Tierney. And we had PJ on the show, and, his energy is contagious, his enthusiasm is infectious. But I hear you. If you're getting fed that every single day, nobody's that happy. And there's got to be a center balance. There's got to be a slight change up every now and again. And if he doesn't show that on a daily basis, I understand where you're coming from. That can kind of get old, kind of tired after a while. So I guess my question, though, with Minnesota, and we were running through the draft history, doesn't mean PJ couldn't change this, but they have not had a quarterback drafted since 1972. And, you have to look at this strategically. You just mentioned the Iowa State job and that transition from the previous MAC coach. But if you go from Western Michigan and then you go to Minnesota and, Urban Meyer, you would think Michigan State gets it going again, Jim Harbaugh. I mean, that's a beastly conference. And, if you have a couple of 8-5 seasons, are you really going to wind up at one of those power schools that you really think that you can down the road?
Well, Minnesota's got the advantage of being on the other half of the division, the weaker half. So you don't necessarily go head-to-head all the time with Michigan and Ohio State. Really, your competition is Iowa, Nebraska, Wisconsin. And you're probably not going to be as good as those programs year in and year out, but maybe you can move up a little bit in that division. You can make bowl games there. You can maybe luck into a division title at some point. Like, I don't think it's a dead-end job. It's a great school. It's in the middle of a major city. It's maybe not the greatest recruiting territory, but you can draw from Illinois. You can draw from Michigan. There, it's a decent job, and I think it showed this year. They won 9 games, and didn't necessarily beat anybody, but that's a good year for them. Minnesota, they're happy usually with 9-4. The reason that Tracy Claeys got fired wasn't necessarily his job performance on the field. It was a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, no, that's apparent. What's also apparent is the rematch and the narratives that are around the college football final with Clemson and Alabama. Now, we know what happened with Lane and the offensive coordinator situation with Sarkisian. The question, though, because Clemson played them so well last year, scored 40 points on them, losing by 5, how does Clemson beat Alabama, the defending national champions, this year?
Well, I think they are so good offensively that, if they play their game and they're on, why can't they beat Alabama? I think that's the way they're looking at it. They see what happened last year, and they feel like they're better. I know Alabama probably is too, but Clemson feels like they're a better team than they were. And Deshaun Watson, the way he's played the last month of the season, I think they really feel like they have an opportunity here, that they're peaking at the right time, and that Alabama is as good of a team as they are. that they're not unbeatable. You know, they certainly didn't look like it in the Peach Bowl. So I think they're coming into the game in exactly the right mindset, but they're going to have to execute, not turn the ball over, get the ball to their key guys, and they just have so many weapons. And, you know, defensively they're very good. So I think they come in feeling like they got one taken from them last year, and this is their year to take it back.
It's good stuff. By the way, I have to ask you, are you in Starbucks? Are you in an elevator, sitting in a busy intersection? Where the heck are you, man? A lot of stuff going on behind you.
I'm at the Atlanta airport. I'm actually heading down to Tampa. So
Very nice. Dan, appreciate a few minutes. Safe travels, man. Thank you.
Sure, no problem. Thanks.
You got it.